Welcome in to the Week 11 edition of Hit That Line. I am your host, Zach Berry. Joining me, everybody in the crew is in the building this evening. We've got Austin Gray, we got Ben Woodhouse, we have Nicholas Carr. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to November, where, as we all know, they remember. How are we doing?
Doing good. Little Houston Nut throwback there.
Get it started on the right foot.
That's right.
You know, if Ole Miss goes undefeated in November, does Ole Miss make the college football playoffs?
We have to. I'm sticking with it. We have to.
Houston Nut might have said it at some point. There's no way to say that he didn't, but yeah, undefeated in November, standing on business.
If anybody stands on business, it is Houston Nut.
Nick, how we doing over there? We good?
Oh man, I am ready to get going here.
All right.
Nick is such a Grinch. It's ridiculous.
What are you talking about? Ben, all week I had to hear about how I was 2 games back in the standings. He had some good picks for us this week. What were you last week, Ben? 1 and 2?
I think I went 1 and 2.
Yeah, okay.
Oh no,
you know what?
Now
shooters have short. I went 1 and 1.
1
Yeah.
and 1. Ole Miss.
Yeah,
That's
Ole
right.
Miss
Oh my
-3.
gosh. I legitimately would rather lose a game than tie it because it just throws off the record the rest of the year.
69, 50, and 1.
That's a crazy number. Wait, I thought
Probably better
69
than
50.
Huh?
I thought it was like
Probably-
69
go
and
ahead.
56.
No. So we lost 3, 4, 5, 5. Yeah, so we're 69, 50, and 1. So yeah, I was 2 and 1. Nick was
Jeez.
2 and 1. Austin was 1 and 2. Nick Ben 1 and 1. Ben is in the lead narrow margin over myself. He is 18, 11, and 1. I am 18 and 12. Nick is 17 and 13. Austin has finally come back down to earth and cooled down. He's at 16 and 14 after a couple tough weeks, but you were
I'm going 1 and 2
white
from
hot.
now till the end of time.
Nick, you'd have to do the numbers for us. If we all go 1 and 2 the rest of the year, where do we end up at? But we're not going to do that. We're going to shoot for 3 and 0 weeks. We're going to give you our locks. But first, let's get into Saturday's game. For this episode only, I will say it is 7 p.m. Eastern time because I will be time traveling to Eastern time zone this weekend. Nick, you will be doing it as well. Sanford Stadium, Athens, Georgia, prime time, ESPN. And when I say prime time, I mean prime time with Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit. Is it Holly Rowe on the sidelines with
Yeah,
them?
what was the last time? That's right, Hollywood. When was the last time Herbstreit and Fowler called an Ole Miss game? It's going to be like 2 weeks ago or something, and I just forgot
Is
about.
it
But
Bama?
They called A&M in 22
Oh yeah, that's
or
right.
21.
Okay.
21. Yeah.
when we had game day,
Yep. The
Yep.
AJ Finley.
do y'all
pick
think
six
there's
game.
y'all think there's been one since?
I don't think so.
No,
Do
I
you
don't
know?
either.
Not unless it was Bama in 22, and I just didn't pay attention.
No, that was
CBS.
that was Gary.
CBS, yeah.
Then no, I don't think they have since that in 21. A&M in 21.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I mean, obviously CBS, feels like the bigger game because it's the game of the week. But I don't know, Herbstreit and Fowler, that's pretty sick.
Yeah,
It is.
They're the best in the business. Next to and maybe it's a hot take. Maybe y'all will disagree. I think it's Fowler and Kirk, and then after that, I'm a huge fan of Gus and Joel Klatt. I know Gus can be a lot for some people. I personally love him, and I think Joel Klatt's super underrated and is really good at color.
I like Brad Nessler, but I can't handle Gary. But
Yeah.
if they put a better,
Yeah.
color guy with him, I think that he would.
I do
He's
like
just
Nessler.
like got that standard college football voice. He's like Ron Franklin of the
Oh, baby.
2020s.
Yeah,
Ron
Zach, where do
Franklin
you rank Joe Tess?
Ooh.
in the fucking gutter? God.
And
He
look
sucks.
what we have here in the gutter.
Oh, What
What do we have brewing in Oxford?
Brewing in the gutter.
The only people close to him in the gutter, Ryan McGee and Marty Smith.
Y'all remember
gosh,
when? Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was gonna say people got on what's the name last week for the way he ended the game, and they're like, "Oh, you're so sad that A&M missed the kick." I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't. He may have broken down in tears after he got off the call, but that's like his classic call of
Right.
and the Rebels survive. Like that's just
And also a
yeah.
kid missed a field goal. Like, are we going to cheer in the booth
Well,
for that?
I think he was pissed that he didn't get to use a line like for the game winner. Like, I
Yeah.
think he had
Yeah.
one teed up, like ready to go,
I'll,
and he didn't get to use it.
I'll say this, and shout out to my boy Jason Benetti, the White Sox
Oh, I love
play-by-play
Jason
guy.
Benetti. Yeah.
So damn good. He was on No Laying Up's strap series when they were out at training camp or spring training, and they were asking him how he comes up with stuff on the spot, and he was asking them to try to do it, like Neil and Big Randy, and they couldn't do it. Like they're like, that's so hard to do. Like no prep, just like say something. And they were like, okay, you do it now. And like they would like make a putt, and then he just kind of sat there, and they were like, are you not going to do it? And he was like, sometimes the best thing to do is just let the moment happen and let the fans hear the crowd and hear the moment. And I was like, you know what? That's actually brilliant.
Yeah.
So as much as I don't like Tessitore, I think that's what he was doing there. Like,
Oh,
You
100%.
Yeah.
He was. He was.
like, you're watching on TV, you obviously see it, but like if you're listening, like you can hear the moment, the home crowd going crazy because they missed it. But yeah, other than that, he sucks. Okay. So, Ole Miss, Georgia. Let me hit refresh. I do have my glasses on tonight, so I'll make sure I get the right lines for everybody. Ole Miss sitting at 10.5. What the hell is Bet Rivers doing? They got it at 11.5, but 10.5 is pretty much what most people have. Some couple stats I'm gonna throw out here. Some nuggets via ESPN. Ole Miss is 4-1 against the spread in its last 5 games as an underdog. 7 of the last 8 meetings between Georgia and Ole Miss have gone under the total, which I wonder what the total was in 2016 because Ole Miss did all the scoring in that one. This is the fewest points that Georgia has been favored by this season.
God
and then
bless.
Don't
this
tell
was-
that to the Cover 3 podcast, guys, because they'd have you think that we were going to lose by 30.
This is the weird one, but it kind of jives with what we've talked about this year, and I've heard other national analysts say about national the guys that handicap for a living. Georgia is 4-10-1 against the spread in its last 15 games as a home favorite. Pretty weird.
It's kind of crazy, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I've heard on shows where guys are always like fade Georgia at home, but like on the road, like they're gonna pound people. They've played some tight games at home this year. They had to come back and beat South Carolina last week against Missouri, and I know they've had some big numbers that they've had to cover, but Ben sent the stat earlier today of just how damn dominant they've been this year, and I'm scrolling through the group chat to try to find it, but 90-15 under Kirby Smart. What does this say? His record at Georgia as of 11-8 in 2020, he was 48-14. Since then, 90-15. So, just absolutely dominant.
No, so 90-15 overall. Since then, he's 42-1.
Yeah. So yeah,
So like
overall record
in the last 3 years, calendar years, from November 8, 2020 to November 8, 2023, Georgia is 42-1 overall. That is an absurd run. Like that's like Nebraska in the 90s type dominant. Even in that division, that's an absurd run.
Yeah, that's like Tom Osborne shit right there.
That's what I'm saying. It's Tom Osborne. It's like
it's crazy.
It's like
dominant.
Yeah. I don't know that Oklahoma ever had a run like that. I mean, we're talking about an all-time, like a historic type run. Because even in the Alabama national championship years, almost all of them include a loss. Like very rarely do they go 15-0. Georgia is now 42-1 in the last 3 years. It's just insane. And I think their one loss was to Alabama. Pretty sure.
Like some of the best. This was an article from last year, looking at like best dynasties ever. So you've got Oklahoma in like late 40s to late 50s. They had an 11 season span where they went 107, 8-2. 11 league titles and 3 national championships. Alabama, just the Nick Saban dynasty, we're all aware of that. 6 titles in 12 seasons. It's pretty insane. They've got, Heisman Trophy winners left and right. And then I was going to throw this one out there, but it's a different, same program, different era, but Miami 80s to early 90s, 96-13 from 1983 to 91. Just crazy. I would have said like the Larry Coker Miami teams were pretty damn good. Tom Osborne's overall record when he retired was 255, 49-3. So like his entire tenure was basically a dynasty.
That's turning into Kirby Smart's, man.
Yeah. They had
he's 7 years in, 15 losses.
93 to 97, Nebraska went 60-3.
Yep.
Just
that's the kind of run that they're on right now.
For.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's the run they're on right now. Really a better pace than that, frankly.
Yeah,
unless the Rebs derail them on Saturday.
Yeah, I was gonna say in a different era of college football too, which is even more impressive. But all right, so
is Brock Bowers playing?
So I talked with a couple of Georgia people today. It's senior day. He's not a senior, but he's not playing next year. He's going to the NFL. I think he's going to get some kind of curtain call type deal where they're going to play him. He'll suit up. Now, if he suits up and goes through warmups and he's not going to be able to be effective or really, sure, you could throw him out there as a decoy, but I don't think Kirby's going to risk him getting hurt even more if he's not able to move. But there's been rumblings that he's running at a pretty high rate of speed in practice, but that's just straight line running. That's not what, his style of tight end, receiver does. He's got to be able to move laterally and cut and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know if even if he does, he's not going to be the same Brock Bowers. I don't think he's going to be as effective. I could see him just suiting up, getting out there a couple times, letting the crowd go crazy, and then that'll be that. Because the backup is damn good, so it's not like you're going to play a 45% Brock Bowers when you've got Oscar Delp that's 100% and is basically, a mini Brock Bowers.
And, this is not me. This is a little bit me being a hopeful fan, I guess. But let's just look at this from Brock Bowers' perspective. What does he have to gain other than getting the curtain call? Hadn't he won 2 national championships? Like, what are we doing? Trying to win 3
rings.
Instead of, go get paid, dude. Like, at this point, I wouldn't want to risk. I'm not saying that he could hurt it worse. I'm not a doctor. I'm not one to say that he could, but I'm saying, like, I wouldn't put any kind of like weakened ligament or recently repaired ligament, any unnecessary stress on it when I've got huge combine stuff coming up. He's a top 15 pick to me.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's a top 10 pick.
And even if you did want to go for a third ring, just wait until the SEC championship game or until you're in the playoffs and then make that decision.
Or wait one more week and play at Tennessee. Like, I don't know why you would risk it here when really, if that's the game you lose, I don't know. Does Tennessee have 2 SEC losses? Maybe that change. Yeah, they do. Never mind. So Georgia's they'd have to lose twice.
Yeah. So my thing with this, and I hate when people do this, because it's all of these people that have never been in the position that Brock Bowers has been in. When people criticize dudes sitting out, that pisses me off to no end. Like, dude, you're not in the position to make life-changing money like these guys are.
Right.
Like, that's what his life is. Okay, spare me well, he got his degree. No, shut up. That's not what he's doing. He's a professional football player. He's a freak, and he's going to be really good in the NFL. So
let's not act like degrees pay the same thing as professional football.
Exactly. And also, like, what's the average lifespan of an NFL career? Does anybody know?
Let's just say somebody's good as him is 10 years. I don't know. It's probably 4 years. Yeah. Let's say Brock Bowers is 10.
Yeah, it's different by position, whatever. But like, go get that ludicrous contract and then get one more. You're good. Take care of your money. Be smart. You're good for the rest of your life. So, like, if he wants to sit out this game and he wants to sit out the Tennessee game, because look, I'll say it, like, Georgia not having Brock Bowers on Saturday doesn't mean, well, shit, game's over, Ole Miss wins. Like, no, Georgia is still capable of winning the game. So, like, he doesn't need to play, but if he chooses not to because his life is about to change next April, I have no problem with that. So, like, all these people that want to get on podcasts and get on TV and talk shit about people that sit out is just ridiculous, because you're not in that position. So, like, don't say, I would never do that. The hell you wouldn't. Like, come on.
The other consideration here is that maybe Kirby doesn't want him to play every snap in the game. I mean,
probably
Kirby may want him healthy. You know, a fully functional Brock Bowers is much more useful to him in the championship game than in the Ole Miss game. And two, Kirby is as savvy as it comes on the recruiting trail. I think he probably is also aware that it would likely be used against him if he cost Brock Bowers his career in a game in Week 10 against Ole Miss. Hell, I hope we would use that against Kirby on the recruiting trail if that's what happens. So, I mean, it's not entirely clear to me that Kirby's going to, insist that he plays every snap that he possibly can. He's probably very conscious and aware of Brock's future as well as his own future and the future of his program.
If I had to guess, I think that he will use Brock Bowers as like a trump card. If it's late in the game, I don't say late in the game, like middle of the third quarter, and it's a tight game, I could see them trotting him out there, on the 1st and 10, letting him jog a route. I think he'll dress out. I think he'll go through the motions before the game. Maybe they toss the ball to him in the red zone, kind of like we did to Trey Harris against Alabama. If this guy got 3 targets, I'd be stunned on Saturday. There's no reason for him to, because if they beat Tennessee, I mean, I guess, like, obviously if we beat Georgia, I think there's a way for Tennessee for that game to matter, right? If Tennessee wins this weekend, we beat Georgia.
No, if we beat Georgia, Tennessee can win the East by beating Georgia.
Yeah. So ultimately, Georgia kind of needs to beat Tennessee, and then they've got to beat Alabama. This game doesn't matter a ton to them. I don't really see any reason that they're going to push this guy to go. Give him an extra week, really give him an extra 3 weeks to get ready for Alabama. I expect he'll play just because he wants to, like, for the rest of the year, obviously. But this guy's not getting I don't think he's getting more than 2 targets at most on Saturday. And those are going to be like, we're just throwing the ball up and hoping he can go fight for it. He's not going to be of use, I don't think. I'd be stunned.
Here's what I think. Here's what I think happens. Whatever, hard fought game, whatever the score is, doesn't matter. Georgia's winning the game. They're going into victory formation. I bet they put Brock Bowers out there as, like, to take the direct snap and knee it, or be behind Carson Beck when he knees it, and then, gets the curtain call or whatever. He takes his helmet off. Everybody goes crazy. But yeah, I'm with Nick. There's no way.
So wait, they're going to put him in at linebacker while we're taking the knee in the victory formation?
Yeah.
Okay.
He probably could.
I buy that. Yeah.
Play linebacker. But yeah, I mean, now he play linebacker for Ole Miss coming off that injury. They could use him. But yeah, there's no way that he's gonna be like 7 receptions for 80 yards. Like, if he is, then he's just a freak.
Yeah, he's a Terminator. Like,
I know that there's been some people that have come back. Like, who is it? Amari Rogers at Clemson came back in something like 4 months after a torn ACL and played a full season. But I just Brock Bowers' NFL aspirations are higher than what Amari Rogers were at Clemson.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the game. To me, Ole Miss's offense is, in my opinion, going to score. I think this comes down to the front seven getting pressure and getting home against Carson Beck, because we've seen over the last couple of weeks kind of the maturation of him as the quarterback, much more efficient. The offense is putting up points. They're winning tight games with the offense driving down and scoring. I think if Ole Miss, with a front seven that is 6th in the country in sacks, top 15 in tackles for loss, if they can get to him, get them behind the chains, and force him to have to make big throws on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11. And if the Ole Miss offense can keep pace, I think that's how Ole Miss stays in this game and has a chance to win. It can't get into quick 3 and outs to where Georgia just gets into Death Star mode and just starts leaning on you with Dejon Edwards and running the football, because we've seen in games last week, Bama, teams that run the football right at you can cause issues. Now, the Ole Miss D-line is much deeper. They can run more guys out there, but I'm interested to hear what y'all think. Do you think this game stays in the 20s, or do you think Kiffin is going to try his damnedest to get it into the 30s and 40s and make it a track meet? Maybe that answers itself, but
No,
he kind of coaches different on the road.
well, he coaches different on the road, and I think he coaches differently in spots where we clearly are undermanned relative to the roster on the other sideline.
Yeah.
So against Alabama, we deliberately did not push pace very much. But
We
Kiffin
didn't.
he wanted to limit possessions. You know, he wanted to stretch the game out and give us a chance. But I don't know. Does he take a similar approach with Georgia? Now, keep in mind, we weren't even close to being fully healthy against Bama. Trey Harris was dinged pre-scoring's first game back. Franklin, I don't even know if Franklin played at all. At that point in the season, Q was still kind of banged up. So I suspect that may have been why we chose to throttle down offensively against the Tide. I'm really curious to see how we handle it this week, though. I watched Mizzou, Georgia, but I had it on, second screen. Did Mizzou go tempo at all? Do y'all know?
I have no idea.
They not really. I watched like a cut up of the game, so I didn't get a full rewatch. But I don't think they go a lot of tempo. And their run game's different. Like they go outside zone more.
Yeah. Well, look. I was really impressed by their ability to get the edge on Georgia. I mean, they attacked Georgia at the perimeter on the ground, and they were
Schrader
able to
kid's pretty
win.
good.
Yeah, he is good, but he's not Q, and he's not Bentley
No.
either. And I feel like if Mizzou can get the edge on Georgia, we can occasionally. And look, Georgia's going to be down their best linebacker. We broke his arm last week.
Yeah, he broke his
Um,
forearm.
So he's going to be out. Now, look, it goes without saying, Georgia has plenty of dudes that are more than capable of making plays, especially on that side of the ball. So I'm not saying you should adjust the point spread by like a touchdown because they lost a linebacker. That's not my point. Whoever the next man up for them is, he is undoubtedly not quite as good as the guy they lost, or else he would be starting. So um, I think we could get the edge. The Pettis injury is a bummer from today. Um, if there's any silver lining, at least it happened at this point in the week, so we can get some other guys ready. You have to think Williams sees some snaps, who played a ton for us last year. Been kind of confused by the fact that he hasn't played much for us this year, but I just like the fact that we've got a few days to get ready for that. Obviously, it sucks for Pettis, sucks for all of us, but I think we'll be okay there.
Yeah, we said we want about the Holds. He's probably our best lineman. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
Like
No,
we can
look, and we've speculated, and I think this is right. Sometimes he just so thoroughly dominates the guy in front of him that the ref throws a flag for holding when it's not actually holding.
Cooler temperatures are right around the corner, and as I like to say, it's the perfect time to play a round of golf. And if you're looking for a premier golf course in Northwest Mississippi, or the Memphis, Tennessee area, go to Cherokee Valley Golf Club in Olive Branch, 15 minutes from the Memphis International Airport. With those cooler temps, you might want to stay warm and comfortable on the course this fall. Go in the clubhouse and check out their new selection of outerwear from Travis Matthew and FootJoy, including FootJoy's new lightweight hoodie. This 18-hole par 72 course includes 4 sets of tees to accommodate all players and has 11 lakes, 52 bunkers, and the wide Zoysia fairways and extra-large Champion Bermuda greens and clean roughs make for an excellent opportunity every single time to post a number. If you need a premier golf experience in the Mid-South, go to Cherokee Valley Golf Club. Call them at 662-893-4444 or check them out, olivebranchgolf.com. Are you looking at cutting your health insurance premiums by as much as 20 to 30%? Are you aging into Medicare and need help finding a Medicare supplement plan? Call Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group at 601-953-8449. Drew is an Ole Miss grad located in Mississippi and licensed in 7 states. He works with the nation's second largest health insurance brokerage with access to 35 different carriers, and he can help you with any of your health insurance needs. From regular health plans to life insurance to dental and vision and even Medicare, he has it all covered. Now more than ever, it is critical to have a health insurance agent who is local and accessible. So call Drew Moak at 601-953-8449 and get your free quote today.
The College Corner is headed to Oxford. Stop by their new location in the Oxford Commons off Sisk Avenue. They'll have 4,000 square feet of Rebel gear ready for your trip to the Grove. On your next trip to Oxford, stop by the College Corner or our other great locations in Ridgeland and Flowood. Hats, shirts, polos, pullovers, sweats, t-shirts. College Corner has it all. And as always, you can visit us online at collegecornerstore.com. That's collegecornerstore.com. The College Corner, where your game day apparel meets.
This podcast also comes to you thanks to Bluff City Advisory Group, Memphis's leading team of finance professionals who can provide advanced assistance with financial planning, pension, and qualified plan support, and business and estate planning strategies as well. Former Ole Miss Rebel and founding partner Ben Still, along with his elite-level customer service team, make it their goal to help you meet the ongoing demands of your financial needs. Learn about this and more at bluffcityadvisory.com. And I think he's a victim of coaches now are telling officials all during pregame, watch 57, like he's going to hold, like he's going to grab. And I do think in the run game specifically, like he mauls people. Like we saw Shamar Turner lose his cool because he got embarrassed by Micah Pettis and got mad and, punched him in the dick. But like, yeah, I'm with Austin. Like we've talked about this for a couple weeks now. I think he just dominates people to where it looks like, well, he's got to be holding.
Yeah, that's got to be a hold. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm with you, Zach. I think we have some success offensively. Frankly, I'm not all that worried about that side of the ball. I don't think we're going to put up 50 on Georgia or anything like that. I think we will be competitive, though. I mean, look, Dart is quietly just like really good. He's 12th in QBR nationally. 4 interceptions on the year. Is that right? I looked earlier. Now I've forgotten.
4.
Really,
That's right.
Really,
I think he's 16-4.
Yeah, taking care of the ball, making good decisions, picking up first downs with his legs when we need him to. I mean, he's playing really, really good football. If we just get an average game out of Dart, I think the offense will be fine. I like our receivers. I like our ability to get yards and one-on-one contested situations with Trey Harris, even against Georgia's corners. I think we're going to be able to do that. Mizzou certainly did. So I think we're good there. I am a little concerned about the defense and how we looked in the second half last week. We shut A&M down basically in the first half, and in the second half, we just kind of looked lost at times. I don't really know, I don't know what I should attribute that, but it was concerning to say the least. And Georgia's offense is certainly better than A&M's. So I don't know. I go back to my first question. Do we run tempo or do we try to play keep away a little bit and keep their offense off the field? If so, Zach, obviously, no shit statement here. I think it could play in the 20s. I think it could be like a, 27-21, 31-24 kind of game. If it turns into a track meet, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about our secondary's ability to contain Georgia and their weapons, even though they're not great. But our secondary, again, last week against A&M, kind of felt like we got exposed a little bit. And Carson Beck is playing really well right now. Last week wasn't his best game against Mizzou, but he played a really good game. And I think we can be had over the top. I don't think Georgia can just line up and road grade us though. So I don't know. I think that tempo may tell the story here. If this turns into a track meet, if it turns into a shootout, I don't know. Maybe we can eke one out late, like we did against LSU, like we did against A&M. Worst case scenario, I think it looks like the Bama game, and our offense is kind of stuck in mud all day. We don't really get anything going. They hit a couple of deep shots over the top and just do the old school boa constrictor against us, and we really never have a shot, and it's 31-13. So I don't know. Here's hoping we get the former.
Yeah.
What you said. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, what you said about getting bogged down like we did against Alabama, yeah, it's a different offense, and with Harris back and healthy, he essentially was that decoy. We were talking about, Bowers could be on Saturday at Alabama. He was that decoy, but I'm still concerned about that. I mean, I witnessed it firsthand. The offense was just nothing was going, and when our offense gets bogged down, it looks, maybe all offenses are like this. Maybe I'm just pessimistic because it's Ole Miss, but it looks really bad.
Yeah.
And it looks like, what are we doing here? Did we game plan at all? And it's just like nothing's working, and the 3-and-outs happen so fast, and it seems like it goes downhill so quickly, and that's my concern. Yeah, we've got Trey Harris, but we've played, what would you say, 2 elite defenses all year? I'm not even sure I would say Texas A&M is elite. I think their front 4 is really good. I don't know that their entire defense is elite. I feel like we played one really, really athletic, really, really good defense all year, and we had, like 3 decent possessions on it and did nothing the whole rest of the game. And that concerns me. Is Trey Harris worth like 14 points? Maybe he is. I mean,
Probably.
honestly, last weekend he was worth 14 points. He was that good, but he's going to have to be, because what I saw in Tuscaloosa will get. I mean, maybe we would, score 17, but we're still getting beat if the offense comes out looking anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't add much to this. Yeah.
Go, Ben. Go.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm not even really addressing anything directly that Nick said, but who's the second best pass offense that Georgia has faced this year?
You're saying who's their first best offense?
I think the second. I think the first is Mizzou. I think the first is
Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah. So who's the second best pass offense they
They played
Florida?
nobody in that conference, right? Yeah, it's probably
South Carolina.
Florida or Rattler had a good game against them.
They put.
I mean, Rattler's the best quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of the path. Yeah, the only one comparable. I mean, truthfully, the only one comparable is Missouri, because they've got 2 good receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rattler threw for 256 against them.
If we throw for 256, I'm a little concerned about.
Yeah, I would be too. And look, in that game, that was a 24-14 Georgia win. And South Carolina, if y'all recall, I know this is way back in September, South Carolina was winning for 3 quarters of that game. I mean, South Carolina was in it.
They were
so again,
11,
I'm not predicting
they were up 11
anything.
at halftime.
Yeah, I'm not predicting anything based on that. That was a long time ago, 1 game sample. I was really encouraged by what Mizzou was able to do offensively. I think we're going to be competitive offensively. Just can we stop them just one more time than they stop us? I don't know.
I don't either, and I just don't know why. I mean, this isn't directed at you, Austin. It's really general, other than the fact that, like we said, they're 42-1 over the last 3 years, so that gets them a lot of favors in terms of, and frankly, they've not lost yet this year, right? But let me ask y'all this: if Ole Miss had Georgia's schedule, would we have lost a game?
No.
I mean, maybe we don't beat Kentucky the way that Georgia did, right? But we could probably beat South Carolina at home the way Georgia did. And we would beat
worse. Yeah.
Or worse. We could beat Missouri and Oxford the way Georgia did. And transitive property doesn't necessarily work. But what I'm getting at is this is a great football team who's won the last 2 national championships. I'm only trying to look at things from in a positive light here. Like the line is 9 or 11 or whatever for a reason. That's not that huge of a number in Athens where they probably get like 5 points.
I was gonna say
right?
they're getting like 6 points for being at home.
At
Yeah,
night,
so we're talking about a
right.
touchdown game or less on a neutral site. Like that's
I'll
a
tell you,
very fair. I mean, go back 3 years and put yourself like pre-pandemic and think that this was. I mean, guys, we would have been 35-point underdogs in
Hell,
2019 in Georgia.
last year we would have been 21-point underdogs.
Correct.
No,
So
I'm thinking like 6 or 7 weeks ago, we might have been 21-point underdogs.
Yeah, you may be
I
right.
mean,
Yeah.
truthfully, I mean, Ole Miss is 8-1, and Georgia just has not looked like great at all this year. And I mean, outside of that
all right,
Kentucky game,
In
let's
fact,
flip it.
guys, the look ahead line was 20.5.
jeez.
Let's flip it though. Ole Miss has won a lot of one-score games, and
There's no doubt.
so yeah, I mean, but you. I don't know that there's any science to this at all, but mentally, you get used to playing in close games. That has to benefit you,
Yeah.
right? Because now
Yeah.
they've not played anybody as good as Georgia other than Alabama. And I think A&M has as much talent as Georgia. I just do. Like maybe not
They're
quite
very
as much.
talented.
I mean, McKinley Jackson looks absurd in a football uniform. He's
Yeah.
like he's like a bull. Anyway, Georgia doesn't have anybody on their team that looks like him. What's his name? Graduated last year, number 99. I can't think, Jordan Davis or whatever.
Yeah.
And so
They've got
or
a
what's
couple
the NFL?
dudes. They got a couple dudes that are Coke machines out there.
Yeah, but they ain't him. Like that dude was built different. You could see him in warm-ups and be like, "Good Lord," at that guy. Anyway,
Throwback to Ole Miss recruiting Zion Logue and him picking Georgia, and he's just now finally playing.
Yeah. And so, but I say all to say, like, we won a bunch of close games, so that could help us. At the same time, we've not necessarily, I mean, beating Auburn, but Georgia beat Auburn by 7 or what? Very similar results. I don't know why I'm not saying Ole Miss is going to roll in and whip Georgia, but if you tell me it's 28-24 or 28-25 with like 4 minutes to go and Ole Miss gets the ball, I'm not floored. Now, I'm not saying we're going to drive down score and we may throw a pick six for Georgia to cover, but like that's a very realistic possibility here in Vegas's eyes. I don't know what the total is, but I'm sure it's like 55. I mean, this feels like a high 20s game by both teams. What's the total?
I'm curious.
Let me
I think it's 55.5, right?
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Let me ask a question real quick. And I know transitive property doesn't always work, and common opponents, and not everything's in a vacuum. But this same Georgia team gave up 21 to UAB, and they gave up 20 to Vanderbilt. I know.
And again, Vandy was in the game for like 2.5 quarters. It was crazy.
Yeah, Vandy was.
Yeah. So like, I could definitely see, and I'm probably predicting a Georgia win. I could definitely see it where Georgia just dominates at home. They're good at home. They haven't lost in 4 years there. But this isn't like a dominant, unstoppable force and an immovable object Georgia we've seen the last 2 years. Like they're still susceptible. And I want to say this before I forget, Ben had a good point about that mindset of winning close games and getting comfortable being uncomfortable. That's like a famous motivational phrase. You can see it on the flip side with A&M. They lose close games over and over and over. And after a while, you start to expect, like, all right, when are we going to screw up here? And
Dude, we were there for years. We were on that.
We were.
Our
history. I mean,
so Ole Miss is now like Dart. I watched the replay after, the block field goal. And then late in the game when A&M went up, they showed him on the sideline and he was like doing the hand motion, like, calm down. We're good. We're good. Like they're fine being in that spot, and they are more than comfortable. Like, hey, let's just go down and score. Like Dart said it after the game. He was like, I knew we were going to score.
Yeah.
All right. So what's everybody's prediction? Go ahead, Nick.
Well,
Go ahead.
one last thing. My concern with Georgia is you talked about they didn't play great against Vanderbilt. Couldn't disagree. Didn't play great against Auburn. Couldn't disagree. Same thing with South Carolina. There's been one game this year where Georgia was kind of like, is Georgia beatable?
hmm
Do y'all recall that game?
Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky.
It was Kentucky,
Sure.
and they beat the shit out of them. And that
Yeah.
I guess that's what concerns me is that like Georgia didn't have to wake up for Vanderbilt or South Carolina or or Auburn, and they just kind of sleptwalked and did their thing. My concern is their antennas are up now. They're on high
Yeah.
alert. They acknowledge they can't play that. They can't play the way they did against Auburn, or we will beat them. And I don't necessarily think. Again, I've said before, it's not a must win for them. It really isn't. The must win is kind of next week against
Yeah.
definitely against Alabama here.
It's a little bit of a look at spot for Georgia.
It definitely
honestly.
is.
It is, but at the same time, it's also like, oh, they hear it. They hear all week. Oh, it's the smallest line they've had, in a while.
Yeah.
And I guess that concerns me. They want to come out and show we're the number 2 team in the country. No. We're the number 1 team in the country. That part concerns me. And then the last thing, we'll get to predictions, but I am curious to see what the crowd is like at Sanford if they are trailing in the third quarter. Because those seniors at Georgia don't know what it's like to be trailing in the fourth quarter at Sanford Stadium. I don't know when the last time they did. It hasn't been this year. Not at Sanford. I don't think it was last year either that they trailed late in the game. So I'm curious to see are they tight, late in the game in the fourth quarter because they're just not sure what losing looks like. That would be very interesting to see.
Get them in a spot where doubt starts creeping in, and then see what happens.
Because they don't know what
How
it's
did
like.
Georgia win that game so bad against Kentucky? How did that happen? They had
I don't-
4
but they-
tackles for loss.
But they did the same thing last year when it was a big game late in the year. What they do against Tennessee? I mean, they beat the
Smash them.
brakes off of them. So I'm not saying they're going to do that again. I'm saying like they don't know what adversity is at home. Their crowd hasn't seen adversity in a long time at home.
Yeah,
I mean,
Carson
they had
Beck
608
threw
yards of offense, but
yeah, he threw for.
Oh, okay, that's how they
389.
won the game, bid.
yeah, but like I still, I mean, 4 tackles for loss. Like, did Kentucky just throw 3 incompletions and punt every time? I don't.
Yeah,
Two,
that's what
I don't get. I don't get
I
the
guarantee-
stat line by Georgia's defense.
I guarantee that's what Kentucky did. I mean, you saw Kentucky last year. They ran it up the gut for 2 yards. They had an incompletion, and they,
You're playing right into my hand. You're playing right into my hand. Is that what Kiffin's going to do? I mean, yeah. If we go to Georgia and run it up the middle, but I mean, I think that would be my concern if our head coach was Mark Stoops. Is like we're going to get under center and we're going to try to run. Yeah, I mean, Kentucky going to run it right at Georgia. Come on, man.
Yeah,
right.
Here, and I'll say one last thing before we do predictions. Ole Miss, and look, I would be shocked if I'm wrong here, because Kiffin failed the first big test against Bama. Big fail, like fell flat on their face, busted out their 2 front teeth. This is the test where you can flush that one down the toilet. All eyes of college football are on you. You got primetime ESPN. This is the game where you just empty the playbook and you throw every single thing you got at Kirby Smart, because you don't need to save anything for ULM. You don't need to save anything for Mississippi State. And whoever you play in the bowl game, whatever, you'll have 2 or 3 weeks to cook up some new shit. This is the game where you bring out every single wrinkle, every single formation that you can throw at Kirby that hasn't been on film.
Spencer
and you can
Sanders.
See what happens. Yeah, just anything. Just don't. There's no reason to save anything. And I'm not saying don't do what you're good at, because they're going to do that. But I mean, throw some shit in there that Kirby hasn't seen. And this is the game to do it. I mean, this is the house money. Everyone's counting you out. No one's picking you to win the game. No one thinks you can get it done on the road. World against y'all. This is it. So I'm just excited for that opportunity to see what Kiffin has got cooked up that he's kept in his back pocket.
It's my opinion. Ole Miss can win, but you've got to they can win. I'm not saying will, but you got to have like the superstar. Trey Harris has got to whip his man. And and Quinshon, who has been awesome. We were hard on in the first 3 weeks. He's back.
Yep.
Like he's got to continue to be that guy, and Ole Miss will have a chance. Like you have to win one-on-ones to beat teams like Georgia. It doesn't come down. You cannot out scheme Georgia. Like
No. Your stars have to be stars. Like they gotta be stars. They gotta be NFL
that's
players.
why teams win national championships. It's not because they're I mean, at this point, when you get in the top 10 and you have top 10 matchups, all those coaches are good. They can all do. They're all making 10 million a year. They all know what to do. Like you have to have a star. Like you have to have a Heisman, whatever it is. Like you've got to get that done. So, I'll pick first.
Okay.
The total's 55 and a half. Georgia's laying what right now? What's the line?
I'm seeing 58 and a half.
58 and a half? Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
What's the line?
It is 10 and a half.
Oh, wow. Down to 10 and a half. All right. So I'm going to. All right. So if Ole Miss wins, it's because the superstars showed out. If Georgia wins, what ESPN give us like a 30% chance of winning or something? 33%. I think Ole Miss is going to cover this line. I'm thinking somewhere around 33-26, 32-26. And I'll hold off on who's going to win. But I think Ole Miss is going to cover, and that's the final score. I'm going to let y'all talk. Okay. But 32-26 is the final score, and Ole Miss covers. I'm not going to pick Georgia to win outright yet. I'm going to have to sit on it.
I'm going to do head and heart again. My head tells me Georgia gets mid to upper 30s here. We stall out on a few drives, maybe have a turnover in a crazy environment. So it's 38-28 Georgia. Heart says we hit a bomb walk-off field goal like we did against Tulane. Like I know that wasn't technically a walk-off, but you get my point. It was like a 55-yarder against Tulane or whatever. 31-30 Rebs on a just like a monster field goal.
That would be. I would say it'd be awesome. I literally think I would die.
I wouldn't survive it. Yeah, for sure. My kids would enjoy it. But
what did you just say? That we won on like a what?
Like a 50-yard, just
like a bomb, like a 57-yard field goal. Yeah.
If we won on a 57-yard field goal, I am not exaggerating. Most everybody in my neighborhood would see me buck naked on my street. Like again, I would be streaking down through the quad to the gymnasium. Like it would be outrageous.
There'd be Ole Miss fans fighting Cobra security trying to grab pieces of the hedges.
Yeah, I think I would literally be on the concrete, passed out, like hunched over, fetal position, passed out before the kick.
They'd have to lock me in the stadium.
Dude, I would eat the hedges. I would swallow the hedges. I would just devour them.
We would rush the field. I just like a la Washington State a few years ago in Seattle at Washington. All right, so I can't even think about it.
Nick, why weren't you at the Week 12 show? Well, I had a court hearing in Athens, Georgia.
I have all the hedges in my possession. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking head and heart thing. Like my heart says, honestly, that Ole Miss could just beat them, and I don't even think it would require like heroics of a late, long field goal. I think you talked about like what Missouri did against that Georgia defense, and I think we've got better. I don't know if like Harris is necessarily better than the guys at Missouri, but I mean he sure seems like in the last couple of weeks. I think Dart's better than Cook. I mean I just think we're overall a better team than Missouri, and we go out and just actually beat them by like 4 or 7. I think it's very possible. I don't think the offense is going to do it. I've seen what Kiffin has done in his biggest games, and call me a hater if you need to. That's probably what I am. I'm a little bit skeptical about the offense in like a huge game. And I'm thinking something to the effect of like, and I don't even want to say it, but something like 35-20. Last week's Texas A&M's offense gained all but 5 possible yards against us until the last possession. In their I think their last 6 possessions, they gained all but 5 total yards, and one of them was on the interception. I mean, they just wore us down. I don't think that Georgia will be that methodical. At least I hope not. But yeah, 35-20, the offense just doesn't show. Just is not good enough.
Nick has me pacing after that.
Well, here's some more cold water.
Oof.
I think it's a really good game. I think Ole Miss just runs out of gas and is just a couple playmakers short. Dude, it'd be really nice if Zachary Franklin would show up at some point. It'd be really nice
Right.
if he could be a threat.
What happened? I thought he was there at Auburn.
I mean, he's been in the game. I just don't think his knee is.
I just
right.
don't think he's as good as Watkins. To be
Well,
honest,
Well,
with
that's
you.
possible.
Yeah,
Because
I think that's
don't
right.
think he's 100%. Like he's out there. Like he was in the game when Jordan Watkins had the touchdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's as effective. He can't cut well with the knee yet.
Yeah, but to Ben's point, like, what would Watkins look like in that conference? Like, if Watkins would played at
Yeah,
UTSA
true.
in that conference,
I
wouldn't
mean,
he look a lot
he's
like?
better.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's better than the transfer.
Maybe,
And
maybe
that
this is the
point,
Abe
like,
Williams game.
Maybe that would be cool.
and I
Inshallah.
mean, Franklin is more realistic comp is Dayton Wade, who's not coming off the field because he's like
Because he's Jerry Rice. He's the greatest player of all time.
he's
Dude,
like he's the heart of the
literally catches
offense.
everything.
I know.
Catches
Go ahead, Zach. I
everything.
didn't mean to interrupt you. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good. No, I mean, I don't. I think this is just a game where Georgia just kind of out athletes and just wins some one-on-ones that they're just better. And I think it's a fourth quarter game, and I think they tack one on late and just get over the number. I'm thinking 36-23, something like that. Like I do think Ole Miss is very much in it. It's a one-score game. And then yeah, maybe a turnover, or maybe they get deep into Georgia territory, go for it on fourth, don't get it, and then Georgia drives down and scores to put it away. If we're doing head and heart, that's what I'm going with the head. Heart, I'm thinking 38-36, and Trey Harris is a bad man. Because
So
God
Go ahead.
help Malachi Starks trying to cover him. Because I know Malachi Starks is a stud and he's really damn good. But when Trey Harris is in his bag, and he looks like he's in his bag right now, he's tough to cover. And yeah, you can cover him, but he's also going to be bigger than you and can out jump you. So yeah, my heart says that it gets to a shootout, and Kirby does not want that. I talked with Brooks Austin today. He covers Georgia for Sports Illustrated. He's a big film guy, and he talks to a lot of the people around Athens. And I brought up shootout, and he was like, that word makes Kirby's skin crawl. Like, he does not want that, because I don't think he wants that smoke with Lane Kiffin. Because Mike Bobo versus Lane Kiffin, come on, who you taking?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Bobo being the offensive coordinator is kind of why I have hope. Look, I mean, I'm only going to go. I'll look, head, heart, whatever. I just think the game's going to be close. I think Georgia is Texas A&M with a better quarterback, talent-wise. Like, I don't know that we're going to, having just come off a play at A&M, I don't know that we're going to be in warm-ups and look across the 50 and be like, oh, my God, look at those guys. Because, like, we just played a team that looks like, fake people. They look like the Monstars on Space Jam.
Right. Yeah.
And now A&M is not Georgia. They're not coached like Georgia. I get that. But we're talking about Mike Bobo. It's not like we're talking about – like, we did just play an offense that's coached by Bobby Petrino. I get it. They have stunk all year, and Georgia has a better quarterback and all that. But who has better receivers, A&M or Georgia? Is Ladd McConkey better than A&M's receivers?
No.
I mean –
he's utilized better, but no, he's not better.
No. And if we're going to talk about just like athletes, I just don't know where Georgia is significantly better than A&M. A&M has a better linebacker. A&M has a better front four. Now, Georgia may be better in the secondary, which is very possible. But like
They are.
at that, I mean, I think that this isn't that terrible of a matchup for us. Now, with that said, Georgia's the number one team say that ad nauseum. I just think the game could be close. I'll pick Ole Miss to win 33-26 or whatever, because that's right on the line. So, or not that much, 33-28, whatever, and roll with it that way and just go with a heart pick, because really I can spin it in my head to say, okay, Ole Miss doesn't turn the ball over. And I'm not even talking about like catching a lot of breaks. I'm not talking about a pick six would be great, but let's take a step back last week. What happens in that game if A&M doesn't block the field goal and run it back for a touchdown? I mean,
Oh, it's a route.
What happens if we don't get the phantom fucking holding call and it's
the
21
whole
nothing?
thing to go
Exactly.
21
So,
nothing. Correct.
yeah.
It was a
That's what
14-point swing.
I was going to
Yeah.
do. You're skunking them. Like, hand over
You're
the
skunking
sticks.
them.
You're out.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so they lay down. And Georgia's not going to lay down. Ole Miss could go in there and jump up big or whatever, and Georgia could storm back. And I get it again, like they've had these great recruiting classes. I'm just not seeing like the one. There are two games that bring me pause. The way that they beat Florida in in Jacksonville, 43-20, and the way they beat Kentucky. These other games, like the way they played Auburn, getting that touchdown late to win by a touchdown.
Mhm.
The way they played Missouri, with Missouri, very much in the game until the fourth quarter. Like, make it a fourth quarter game. We've been good in the fourth quarter every year or every week. So I don't know why that'd be any different. I just, I I'll pick us to win, but barely. I mean, just to have fun with it. It's a free shot. And Georgia,
Yeah, 'cause-
again, I think they're A&M with a better quarterback, like a better talent wise, I guess I should say.
Well, keep in mind that Auburn game. Now, Georgia, give it to them. They earned it. They beat a really good team at home. Feet against the fire. They got it done. As Bud Elliott would say, they lucked out. But that Auburn game, that was just Mike Bobo hitting the Brock Bowers button.
Yeah.
Correct.
Brock Bowers is not going to be there. So, like Nick said,
and if he is, like, what? I mean, is he 100% this
there's
quick?
no chance unless he's literally a T800. There's no chance he's 100%. So, like Nick said, get them in a spot where like doubt starts creeping in. Let's say you jump out 17-7, 17-3. How are they going to respond? That's best case, pie in the sky scenario for Ole Miss. You get out hot, you take the crowd out of it early, and you throw some adversity at them, and let's see what they're made of. That's, obviously we're talking best case scenario on an Ole Miss podcast, but that's what we do here because it's an Ole Miss podcast. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it happen before. An Ole Miss team get out to a hot start, and if Pete Golding's in his bag, like, watch out.
They beat South Carolina by 10. They beat Missouri by 9. They beat Auburn by 7. They beat Vandy by 37-20. I'm not. Look, they also beat Kentucky 51-13. It's just an interesting. You just don't know. I just have to think that we are past, and I could be wrong. Like, you could go over there and get whipped. We are past the days of being, quote, blown out by someone. I think that, the worst case scenarios, like Austin said, or even Nick's scenario, like 35-20, and Georgia covers, but they cover by, you lose by 2 touchdowns. Maybe it's not even that close, but it's 35-20. I don't see a scenario of us going over there and pulling a Kentucky. I just don't see that. I could be wrong. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, I can't believe Kentucky or Georgia did that with 4 TFLs. Just outrageous. Kentucky had 6 negative plays the whole game and got beat 51-13. Scored 13 points.
I think Devin Leary was like 10 for 26.
Yeah.
So like they just clamped them down. But yeah, to Austin's point, and then we'll move on to locks. Kirby's gonna play man free. Like, they're going 1-on-1, best on best, try and beat us. That's what they're gonna do. So this is where, like Austin said, your stars got to be stars. Trey Harris has got to have a big game. Dayton Wade, Jordan Watkins, they got to get big catches on third down, get upfield. Caden Priestcorn, got to make some plays over the middle of the field. Got to be a big, willing blocker in the run game like he's been the last 4 weeks. That's like, I think Ole Miss is going to have to play a damn near perfect game, and you're going to have to catch Georgia slipping. Maybe Carson Beck throws a pick, fumble, you sack, strip sack, something. Nick was saying Ole Miss could just go in there and just beat them. Could happen. I think you'd have to play a damn perfect game, but yeah, it's not crazy to think Ole Miss could win this game. That's what I think we're all saying the same thing. So, all right. Anything else? Moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah, it's just weird because I've got this weird feeling that like we could go in there and win and then still miss the playoff. Like
Well,
that, there's something a little freeing about that too, though. That it's like a true free shot. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It could be
Just go play.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right. We're gonna get into locks here. I'm gonna go ahead and jump on the board first. Just out of principle, because somebody is probably going to get it, so I want to get it first, and I'm gonna go ahead and lock in Alabama minus 10.5. There is absolutely damn it. Okay, it's up to 11, but I'll still take it. Or wait, no, hold on. That's South.
You can get 10.5.
It is 10.5. Okay.
Yeah, you can get 10.5.
God, I got my glasses on and everything. I'm still messing
It's
up.
not like 11 is key anyway, so I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
10.5, 11.
It's Kentucky. I don't care. It's at K. Roger. Alabama.
It's a weird line. Stinky.
Yeah.
The last time Saban burned me when I took him was in the championship game when Jameson Williams got hurt. I think Alabama would win that game with healthy Jameson against Georgia. That's the last time he's burned me. I'm laying the points here. There's no chance Kentucky even remotely hangs with them. They've figured it out with Jalen Milroe. Tommy Reese is simpatico with him. They've got it going offensively, and their defense. Dallas Turner can just basically do whatever he wants and can't get a flag thrown on him. So
yeah, just kill people, right?
Yeah. Okay. Was anybody else looking at that? I saw that number in the beginning of the week, and I was like, "What the hell?" I put that one down with a big highlighter next to it.
Yeah, I think the market is thinking Bama's going to be a little hungover after a huge game, and they're going up to sleepy Lexington, where they don't ever see Kentucky. They hardly ever play Kentucky, so it wouldn't shock me if Bama was a little sluggish out of the gate, but eventually, they're just going to suffocate Kentucky. And by the way,
Yep.
Leary, I didn't watch a second of the State Kentucky game last week, but reading afterward and looking at box scores, it looks like Leary got hurt again, and it may be his shoulder again. So it sucks for that dude, man, because we saw him play one game this year, basically, where he was healthy against Tennessee, and he looked pretty good. But apparently, he's hurt again. If they can't throw the ball, I mean, how does Kentucky score here?
I don't know.
No,
They're
yeah,
not running.
agreed.
They're not running Ray Davis for 250 against
No.
Alabama.
No,
Marion Brown has just disappeared.
they can't get him the ball.
So
Transfer
It
to the SIP.
seriously,
finally
looks like
do it.
the backup played the entire fourth quarter against State last week. Now, I know they were beating State's ass, but that's telling, I think. Leary must have been actually pretty banged up.
Yeah, it also seems like these two schools. I mean, when was the last time Kentucky and Alabama played each other? Talk about a weird matchup.
I don't know. That's what
I
I'm
don't-
saying. Like,
I don't think the Alabama's figured it out. 11 points on the road. I can see this being a blowout. I mean, but again, Leary or no Leary, I still don't think that Kentucky's breaking like 17. And are they?
Yeah.
Is Alabama scoring less than 30?
Mm.
no, they get mid-30s. This is like 37-13. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Kentucky scored that much. Because it's already basketball season there.
Let Nick pick one so I don't pick one of his on the wrong side.
No. Go ahead. Because I don't have anything yet, but I'm sure whatever my first one is, you'll just take
Well,
it.
I'm just sitting here. I'm sitting here trying to talk myself out of playing the hits and going to Iowa City and
Jesus.
Rutgers is at Iowa.
Ugh.
Are you going to Scarlet Knights?
The total is 28.5.
It's unbelievable.
There's no chance it goes under.
I'm going to have to take under 28.5.
At this point,
In
just keep
Rutgers,
doing
Iowa.
it. At this point, just keep doing it until
I mean, why not? Why not?
It's a joke. Next week it's going to be like 24.5.
I know.
mean,
who do they have next week?
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It just keeps going.
Vegas is going to keep going down.
Like,
And they're
they
22nd
could
in the
just-
country.
They
They're
could
like the college football. I mean, they're
they could have the
CFP ranked.
Chiefs next week, and it's still going under 24.5.
Phil Parker, baby.
Man,
Do
if
y'all
you look at
remember-
Iowa's,
Do y'all remember?
Iowa
when
hasn't had a
when-
score that Purdue would have gone. So if you would have, but the last 3 weeks, 10-7, 12-10, 15-6.
Good God.
Yeah, I think this one's a good
I don't
bet.
know.
'cause
I
I
don't-
don't think Rutgers is not terrible, right?
I don't know.
No.
Let's. I'm gonna have
They're going to
I'm
a
gonna have
bowl.
walk this back. I'm like, yeah, they're 6-3. I'm gonna have to walk this back. 20,
Have some
28.5.
no.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
This is what you want,
let's
but
do it.
no, this is what you want. If you don't want Rutgers to be 1-8, because Iowa will beat them. I mean, they may score points. or
Yeah,
something.
31-0.
They were terrible.
Correct.
This
Their
is going to be
defense is
like
poor. Correct.
this
Yeah.
is going to be like 11-7.
Rutgers. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. It's got to be the lowest total ever. 28.5 in college
It's the
football.
lowest total by 2. There's never been a game closed below 30 in college football, and that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gonna
It-
say, yeah. That's
And
how
this
I
is-
know.
This
because
is
last
lowest by
week
a point and a
was-
half.
Under.
I mean, at this point, just to be part of history, you have to bet the
Yeah,
under.
you just do it. Just take the L. Let y'all
Y'all-
back into the game.
Do y'all remember when Rutgers was? When were they number 1 in the country?
They're ranked number 2.
Ray
back in
Rice.
2007.
Yeah.
06?
Them in South Florida were number 2 in the country in 2007 in consecutive weeks, and both lost.
God, what a insane thing to remember and say.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
Gracie
I know,
Hano
no.
is
What a time to
wizard.
be alive.
It was the 15-year anniversary last year of it, and everyone talked about how insane 2007 was. It'll never happen again. And that was a sick time, though.
Wait, it was 2006. Because 2006 they finished 11-2, and they started out undefeated and then lost to Cincinnati 30-11.
Oof.
But the
Imagine
poll
that.
per Wikipedia, it's only showing them in the BCS they were 6 before they.
Yeah,
lost.
I think it was 2007 that they were ranked number 2.
Okay, I'm trying to Google it, and why am I not?
All right, who's got a
Wikipedia's
pick while he's
all
doing
that.
that?
Anyway, I'm just going back and thinking like how wild it was when they were ranked that high.
Austin.
So you got one for us?
Yeah, I got one. I'm going to make a spot play here. You have to play it. If it loses, I don't care. This may be another 1 and 2 week for me. I would make the play 100 times out of 100. I'm going to take UCF at home against Oklahoma State, catching it's 2.5 the best I can get.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, give it to me. The bounce house is actually, a pretty sizable home field advantage. And Oklahoma State is coming off of their Super Bowl to end all Super Bowls. The last Bedlam game, they win. They beat Oklahoma. Everybody is riding their jock. They're now like 15th in some polls.
Mm-hmm.
They also happen to be, I think, one of the luckiest teams in the country. So
Yeah.
give me a competent team at home facing a team who is going to be flat. That means they have no choice but to be flat. They just played the biggest game of Gundy's career, arguably. And I'm catching points. I think it's an easy bet. Even if they get boat raced, it's a bet you have to make.
Dang.
Definitely a bad spot.
No
Or-
faith in Ollie Gordon.
Nope. No, I
The
got
only
faith
thing
in
that
Ollie
concerns
Gordon.
me is
don't have faith in anybody
UCF's
else.
quarterback. Yeah.
UCF's quarterback. Yeah.
All right, Nick.
He's going to play us a tune
Yeah.
at 2:30 on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, is Shedeur Sanders? Is he
I don't
playing this
know.
week? Is he healthy?
I don't know.
To be honest, who cares?
Okay, let's either way. We're still going to Boulder, and we're still taking Arizona. Let me make sure I have that
Yeah.
number correct for you. I think that the wheels are off the bus, off the track, whatever you have out in Boulder. The number is 10.5 for Arizona. They're on the road at Colorado. It's going to be a noon kick. I mean, it's still going to be sold out. I'm sure it'll still be rowdy, but I don't anticipate that it's going to matter. Colorado, the wheels have fallen off. They lost a few weeks ago to Stanford. Since then, they lost to UCLA and Oregon State. This is a Colorado team that started 3-0 that is probably not making a bowl. I think their next games are Utah and maybe Washington,
Ugh,
and definitely I think they've got USC in there too, don't they? Or that
that sounds right.
they've already played USC. It might
That's right. That's
be
right. Hold on.
Utah, Oregon, and Washington. Whatever it is, it's a brutal end to the season. I don't know that they're going to make a bowl again after starting 3-0. And I just that it kind of seems like things are kind of crumbling out there in Colorado.
Okay, they've
Which I
got
mean,
Arizona, Wazoo, and at Utah.
yeah, okay. Well, that's so okay. Best case, I'm thinking. I mean, they've got to win this game to have a chance to go to a bowl. But I mean, we all thought that this thing was built on steady rock out there with Deion Sanders. We definitely didn't see them to lose a couple games and things to start falling apart. I think the facade is worn off. And Arizona's covering here. Fafita, the freshman quarterback for Arizona,
He's
genuinely
good.
good, very good, like probably a top 15 quarterback in the country.
You get all the upside of
He's
Delara with none of the downside. Like he doesn't do stupid shit like Delara
Mhm.
used to.
Yeah, Delar would do awesome stuff, and on the
Yeah.
same play, do the dumbest thing you've ever seen
Yeah.
before. Like,
he
like
it's
I
a
mean, multiple times a
good
game.
good segue here going off the UCF pick because I feel like Fafita is like John Rice Plumlee with arm talent.
Yeah, he's good.
Like he is shifty as hell. He can evade pressure. He can get in the open field and make people look bad, but like he can spin
I wonder where he will be playing next year.
it.
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Maybe he goes with Jed Fish to Starkville.
Maybe he's in Boulder.
or maybe Yellowwood gives him a call.
Dude,
Uh-huh.
I think that the wheels may be off of Dion for like ever. I, I it feels weird to me.
He's gonna have
I mean,
to like because once Shador's gone, like I mean Shador Sanders is not awesome, but he's a solid quarterback. Like he's gonna have to find a quarterback.
Truthfully, the thing he did last week with the coaching decision, I think was the most amateurish, if that's a word, most
Yes,
amateur-like
yes.
thing he's done since he's been a coach, even back to his Jackson State day. Like, you
Bush
can't
League.
do that. You can't bring
That
in
that was
an
crazy.
crazy. Brought in an accomplished head coach in Sean Lewis, who coached at Kent State. Yes, it was Kent State. They're the MAC. They're trash. But like he was highly respected, highly regarded, and ran a really effective offense and had run a really effective offense at Colorado and gets basically demoted, gets his balls cut off in front of the entire team, and you replace him with Shermer. Like
To a failed NFL coach.
you just can't
And
do
their
that.
offense wasn't the problem. The defense was the
No.
problem. You're exactly right. That to me was like the first real sign of this
Yep.
guy's never been a coach before. He's
Exactly.
never had to handle like leadership in terms of like dealing with other people.
Mid-season
Mhm.
adversity. Yeah. Like, what if Lane Kiffin called a press conference to be like, Charlie Weiss is out? Like, like it just wouldn't happen, man.
never.
Even worse, what if he did
There's
it to like
no
Pete Golding is out?
Yeah.
Like,
there's
oh yeah,
no
Pete Golding's not going to
chance.
play anymore. We got a failed NFL head coach that's going to take over.
Yeah, but oh, by the way, you're going to stay on the staff, and I'm going to make you signal in the plays that your replacement is calling. Like, it's just
It was crazy.
amateur shit, man.
I mean, he's fortunate it's his son at quarterback because
Yep.
he'll listen to him.
Yep.
Someone else may not have listened as well.
Yep.
There's no chance Sean Lewis is in Boulder next year.
No, it doesn't feel like it. No.
Oh my gosh, no.
So you're laying the points to Arizona, Nick.
Yeah, 10.5. I like that. I mean, it
That's
started
that's a
pretty.
good-
I think it
that's a
started
good pick.
at 6.5. It's all the way up to 10.5. That's fine though. I kind of think they're just gonna blow them out.
You
Arizona
gotta
seems pretty good.
You got to
They
just
are.
really avoid the backdoor cover that Colorado's been doing the last couple weeks.
You're exactly right. They've done that like all season, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Jed Fish is a really good coach. I mean, Arizona could win out and be 9-3.
With a loss in Starkville. Crazy.
And a game that they had 5 turnovers and still went to overtime.
Because Delara did stupid shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The car buying process can be a lot. I know, I've been there. You just want to get in and out with a new car and the best deal. Simple. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford keeps it simple. They're going to take care of you, get you in and out with your new vehicle with a great deal. Their inventory right now is priced to sell, and what separates Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford from any and all competitors is they aim to address each of your needs with the utmost respect, care, and attention to detail. Contact them today at 662-234-8000. That's 662-234-8000. Stop by and see them in person at 2201 East University Avenue in Oxford. That's Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford to find your next perfect car, truck, or Jeep. Allen Samuels, let's be friends.
Introducing the new and improved BNA Bank mobile app. From setting transaction alerts and tracking your spending habits to managing travel plans and turning off a lost or stolen debit card, you can take care of all of it in the new BNA mobile app. At BNA Bank, we know that life moves pretty fast, and we have the mobile technology to keep up with your life on the go. BNA Bank. Local, invested, modern banking.
I've got a pick.
Alrighty. I'm going to hold on.
Good.
I'm going to go down to Boca Raton, Florida, and I'm going to take the Owls over. Who are they playing?
East Carolina.
LeJontay Wester is a dude. 87 catches on the year, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, averaging 11.5 a reception. I cannot remember the guy's name for the life of me. It was a former Thompson, former Texas quarterback that went down to FAU. He's out for the year, but they have figured it out, and they have found somebody to sling it around. Daniel Richardson put up a ton of points against UAB, lost on the road, but ECU is miserable. They are bad. They are 1-8, 0 in the conference. I like FAU at home here. I think Herman is starting to coach to go somewhere else. He is trying to put some stuff on film, show what he can do. And Larry McCammon, running back at FAU, is pretty solid. And then I already talked about Wester and his big playability. I just think they're going to have a lot of fun at FAU Stadium. And I'm thinking, I saw it at 8. Let me double check.
I get 7.5.
7 flat.
Then. All right, I'll
Oh,
lay
7 flat. Okay.
7. Okay, I'll lay the 7 then. I think they roll. Yeah, I thought the wheels were going to come off there when Thompson got hurt, but they figured it out pretty quick. So Herman's a good offensive coach. I think they'll handle it.
I got one. If you
Good
guys,
pick. I've got one too.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to take a spot play similar to Austin. This is a body blow game meets look ahead spot in Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to take the Tennessee Vols and lay 1
I
point
love it. Love it.
against Missouri. Missouri coming off the Georgia loss. It's just,
Their season,
like I said, it's a body.
Missouri season
yeah.
effectively ended last week.
And Tennessee still technically has everything in front of them. Now they need some help with Ole Miss, but they can at least believe they can win the East in that locker room. So there's a difference there. So give me Joe Milton and Squirrel, what's his face, and let's do it.
I can't
Squirrel
believe you just
White
said, give me Joe Milton. That's remarkable.
First time
know.
the phrase has ever been uttered in history. But
I
yeah,
know.
I completely I don't understand this number. I mean, what kind of respect does Missouri get in the market now? That's crazy. It's a crazy, and look, Luther Burden may
Crazy.
not even play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Burden is banged up.
he's
And-
questionable.
Like you said, body blows after Georgia, they're deflated. Tennessee's got everything to play for. I think this is an easy it'd be different if Tennessee was laying like 7.5. You're basically just saying
Yeah, that's
who wins
right.
the game? Who wins the game?
Or even
If you
like
told
2.5.
me,
It's essentially a pick 'em.
you know,
Yeah.
if you're sitting around and you're talking about games and like all of us could sit around in a room and say, okay, we could just throw a game out this week. And let's say an SEC game, who's playing this week? Arkansas and Auburn. If
Mhm.
we threw that game around, we would all be like, yeah, it's probably like 2.5. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is, or 3.5, whatever.
Mhm.
If we said Tennessee at Missouri after last week, we'd go 5.5.
Yeah,
4.5.
at
Tennessee
least
playing 4.5.
4. At least 4.
That's right. That's right. And it's one that makes sense. So give me the Vols.
I'm with you.
Damn. I honestly would go the other way. I just think I
That's
don't know.
because you live in Nashville. I have to listen to that shit.
That's true.
That's true.
I don't know.
I'm
I
just
kind
kidding.
of
I'm
I
kidding.
kind of think Missouri's pretty good.
Oh, I
And
do too. I just think
No,
just-
I do
after
too. It's just
Georgia.
a weird spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
True. My only question about Tennessee is, are they going to be able to score enough? Because I do think if Burden's questionable and doesn't play or he's banged up, they still got Theo Weiss. They can still run the ball well. And Brady Cook, I think he's pretty good. The Tennessee's calling card, it's weird for a Heupel team. Their defense is really solid.
Yeah.
So
They are.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't shock me. And hell, for the purpose of this podcast and how I gassed up Tennessee all offseason, I need them to win to make me look somewhat smart.
Yeah, I like the Tennessee. I like it a lot. I like the Tennessee play. I just, again, does Mizzou have anything left in the tank after last week? They fought hard, valiant effort, but body blow theory here has been said. Your best guy's banged up. This is one of those you make this bet 100 out of 100 times too.
Yeah, the thing with Burden, I mean, he's one of the better receivers in the country, and that's part. That's why I'm with you on laying that point. I would have said at least 3 is what thought the spread was.
He's a AJ Brown mold, Burden is.
Yeah. They throw it to him 15 times a game too.
Yeah, he's
All right, I got
awesome.
one. If you guys don't
fire.
mind, I'm gonna go ahead and lock in a game that I predicted the score to go under. I think we all predicted the score to go under, maybe except for Zach kind of danced around the number. Ole Miss Georgia under 58.5. I don't love our offense in big games, but truthfully, Ben's kind of said this has been like one of his mantras for years. In big games, teams sometimes tend to go conservative. They tend to slow it down, and the game just goes a little shorter, so it goes a little quicker. And I could see this game being played in the, low 30s to high 20s, which is right there. I could definitely see it being like 31-24, which is kind of comfortably under. So yeah, 58.5 for Ole Miss Georgia. Again, my prediction was 35-20. That's again under. I don't know that anyone predicted. I guess maybe you said like 31-27, Austin, something like that. That's right at the number, but I don't think
I
anyone
said
thinks it's going over.
33-26. That's 59. Right at it. So yeah.
Which is right at it. But we're all kind of like either right at it or under, and so that's why I'm going under.
Nick, to the point of like teams going conservative, I can only think of, and let's just keep it specific to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin because that's in your pick. I can only think of one big game since he's been in Oxford. Like, throw COVID out, throw that year out because that Bama game was outrageous. But and it was LSU this year, right? Because
and LSU's defense is special bad.
Yeah, but because like I think that Kiffin knows when he has a little bit less talent or lesser talent. Let's just say like 2022 Alabama. What was that final? 27-21 or something? It was pretty low, if I remember right.
Yeah, it went under this number for sure.
Yeah, and so the point is like he will slow it down. Our games, the scores are dictated by how fast we go only because nobody else goes as fast as we do. So it's like they either have to try to keep up with us and we just keep pushing, or he recognizes very quickly, like, oh God, like we're not going to get, if we're not ahead of the chains, we're about to like eat 3 minutes off the clock and punt it back to them to try to, shorten this game and get the ball back.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I picked up. That's what happened at Alabama this year. I mean, that's why the scores, 24-10, and really it wasn't even that high scoring.
Yeah. He wanted to shorten the game by extending our possessions and just keep the ball. Yeah. And it's like we said at the outset, I think he may do it again.
So it was 30-24 last year. I didn't realize it was that high. But either way, that's under this number. So against Alabama. Alabama's the only comp that I can give this game because everybody else, I think Kiffin goes into with a mindset of, oh, well, we can beat them like with our players and their players. I think he thinks with Bama and Georgia, everybody goes into Bama and Georgia thinking that, though. Even LSU acts that way against them.
And I also think, like, let's say the worst case happens for Ole Miss and we just get blown out. I think
you're still under
58.5.
That's right.
Because I think it's going to be like 44-10 or 44-7. Like, if we just get demolished, I don't think they're scoring like 60 on us. I think they're scoring mid-40s and we're scoring like a touchdown. So, I feel good about this. Truthfully, I think the over-under on this game should be like 53.5 or 54.
I think if they go up like 24-3 or something at half, they'll shut it down because they got to get to next week. Like, I think that's part of this too. I mean, we would have to legitimately lay down to hit the over at that point. Like, they'll be content running the clock out. So, and it'll look similar to the Alabama game. Your biggest, what's going to screw you here is if Ole Miss comes out hot. Because if Ole Miss scores 2 or 3 times in the first quarter, I'm talking like 14, 17, something like that, it's going to, they will, Georgia will try to keep up and Ole Miss will keep pushing pace at that point. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And which it still may not go over, but that is the one way for the game to go over. And then you're happy anyway because Ole Miss potentially wins. So
I was gonna say that's a bet I'm willing to lose if that's the case.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's a emotional hedge.
All right.
Austin.
Yep, I'm going back to another spot play here, and it involves another team from Oklahoma. Give me the West Virginia Mountaineers at 13.5. I think, Zach, FanDuel, I can get it 13.5.
You can.
Yep, give them to me. West Virginia is not bad, actually. Were they 6 wins already? 5 wins?
Yep.
What's his face?
Neil Brown saving his job.
Saved his job. They are really, really good in the trenches, particularly the offensive line. And as Oklahoma showed last week, and as they've shown in other games, Kansas comes to mind, they're vulnerable on defense, particularly in the run game. I think West Virginia can line up and road grade Oklahoma. I think West Virginia's got 2 capable running backs. I think that's sort of Neil Brown's style anyway. They're not going to be interested in trying to get in a track meet in a ping pong match back and forth with Oklahoma. They're not going to do that. They're going to slow the game down, grind it out. 13.5 points is just too many after Oklahoma just got kicked in the nuts after Bedlam. They now have 2 losses. They're virtually out of contention for the Big 12. They're out of contention nationally. And there's some locker room shit there. Y'all see the chirping with Lebby and Venables and all that this week? Yeah, there's stuff going on there, man. I'm questioning whether some guys are checked out or portal shopping, and you're not getting any of that with West Virginia. Like, they are completely locked in. They're completely dialed in. They're playing good football right now, and this is the type of team that gives Oklahoma problems. I don't know that they can go into Norman and win outright, but you're giving me almost 2 touchdowns. I think this is, I don't know, like 30-20 OU. I cover comfortably there, so give me West Virginia.
Good pick. Really good pick.
The number in this one,
man, I have like 3 games I really like.
Man, this one it's super enticing. I've been going to the well out west in the Pac-12 quite a bit this year. There are 2 games that I really like. This is kind of one of those weeks where, like, I wish I could pick 4 games. But it's
do it. Let's not be scared. Do we have 2 more locks?
It's down far enough to where I like it. enough to pull the trigger. And when Utah is not at Rice Eccles, I am not a believer. And I don't care what is it? I always want to call him Bucky Barnes. Is that what's his damn name? Yeah, it's in Seattle at Husky Stadium. I'm 9.5 across the board. Give me the Huskies. I think Penix is a man on a mission right now. They've had some tight ones, but I just think that offense is going to be just too much for Utah. I know that Utah plays really good defense. I respect everything Kyle Whittingham has built. Last week was a big moment for Washington. On the road, had every opportunity to slip up and lay down against a USC team that just kept punching back. They had a tight one against Stanford the week before, and then the weird one against Arizona State. I think Penix and them are going to put up some big numbers. I think it's time for DeBoer to lean into the Heisman campaign, and they're going to light them up. I'm taking the Huskies -9.5.
I like it.
And I'll say this, looking at this week and how, it's all kind of setting up for that rematch in the Pac-12 championship against Oregon, which I think we're going to get it, which sign me up for that. I cannot wait for that. I think it's going to be awesome, but I'm just, I don't know. Washington's covered 5 of its last 6 games in November or later. I know Utah's really good against the number, but that's, over the last 10 seasons. And I think they've always had pretty good quarterback play. And I think without Cam Rising and without Keithy, I just don't know where they get the points from. So how long can that defense hold down Penix and Adunze and that offense? And look, dude, Dylan Johnson, look at what he did last week. So
Monster. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is just kind of one that gets out of hand because Utah just can't score.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, away from Rice Eccles, their defense is not the same. I mean, they're still good. Don't get me wrong, but at Rice Eccles, they're a different animal.
Yeah, they just don't lose there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who all's got 2? Everybody?
Yeah.
Everybody's got 2. I'm done.
Yeah,
All right. Good.
yeah. I've got one if you guys need, and I don't anticipate anyone's picking this game, so I'll just go ahead and knock this one
Go
out.
ahead
So
and get
in
it.
case,
Better be sure.
in case you guys are still celebrating the win, it's 11 o'clock at night. You just need more football on, and you got a hankering for it. Go to the islands. Hawaii is hosting Air Force. Is that what you wanted?
It's a ridiculous pick.
Hawaii is hosting Air Force. These teams actually haven't played in 4 years, which is very odd to me. Seeing that Mountain West is like only 12-team conference.
Weird.
It's kind of crazy. They've actually only played. They've only played 5 times this century, which is it's bizarre to be in the same conference. That's only, I think, 10 or 12 teams. It's really not that large of a conference, and they don't play each other all that often. But when they do, and when Air Force wins, they've won this matchup big. The last few games have won by 30, 51, 24. I mean, they just beat Hawaii bad. When Hawaii isn't good and can't stop that offensive Air Forces, it gets bad ugly. This line is at 19, and I think that's what you're seeing again from this Hawaii team. They are not very good. Their only win in the last month and a half came last week against Nevada. That was 35-0 to San Jose State. They got whipped by New Mexico, whipped by UNLV. Not a very good Hawaii team. I saw what Air Force did last week against Army. That means literally nothing to me because it was a service academy matchup. So I think Air Force is going to beat them something to the effect of 52 to 50-14, something like that. Pretty ugly.
I can get you 18.5.
Yeah, do that. By the way, this game kicks at 11 p.m.
Yes.
Jesus.
All right,
I'll
Austin.
be at a
I'm between
bar somewhere in Athens watching that one until they kick me out.
It kicks off at midnight there, doesn't it?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, midnight.
All right. I'm down between going to Fayetteville and laying 2.5 with the Hogs.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy
Well,
stuff.
Well, Arkansas
I mean, you saw
got
what they
the big
did
win
against
against Florida.
MSU.
Yeah,
I
know.
agree. I don't understand
That's
that
the
Arkansas
that's
team.
the
I don't get them.
no. I don't disagree. That's what's giving me pause. Or I go to College Station, and
Do
this is a true gamble,
Do it.
and lay 18.5 against Mississippi State.
Do it.
God bless. That's a lot of points.
Is Max Johnson playing? There are rumors
Yeah.
that he's
Yeah,
got broken ribs.
I saw.
Yeah,
he
who is
he's
playing?
I saw he is
Guys,
playing.
what is State going to do on offense? I mean,
No, I agree.
I
The
hear what
hour
y'all are
is scoring.
saying,
I
but
agree.
like that the game. I'm not sitting there doing that because A&M, even though they just walked the dog walked Ole Miss in the second half last week, and it's a weird spot too because State's coming off, getting whipped at home against Kentucky, and A&M has that weird loss on the road. I say weird, they're now 5-4. They've got to be checked out. Everything here says that this is a trap and that State covers it. State historically plays A&M well. Everything else. The problem that I'm having is State just cannot score. Like they scored 3 against Kentucky, 13 against Auburn, 3 against Arkansas.
Are they going to play the
just
freshman here?
got to. I mean, but is he gonna? And here's another thing: defensive linemen. Those guys are playing for draft status now. Like they're trying to get. They're playing for film, and D lines. You don't necessarily have to focus to do that, and that's where A&M. They're going to kill State up front. They're like State's bad on O line, bad. So this is against my judgment and against the spot really, but I'm going to lay 18.5 with A&M. I would typically take 19.5 with State, but I'm just riding high right now, and a team that scored 7, 3, and 3 in the last 3 weeks. They scored 13 points total. I'm sorry, 3, 13, and 7, so 23 points in the last 3 weeks. They're not going to cover 18.5. I don't think so. Give me the
I like
Aggies.
it, but I think you got to figure out pregame whether State's wearing their commemorative snowball jerseys, and that could be the difference here.
Last week they brought the Snow Bowl team, or no, not the Snow Bowl, but the Dog Pound Rock team back. The 98 West champs back.
Yep.
Made it to Atlanta, and Jackie Sherrill and laid a 3-point offensive performance in perfect commemoration of those offenses.
Well, they honored Jackie Sherrill, I think, by scoring a point for every win in his last season at Mississippi State. I think that's that's right.
3 points for the 3 words that he happened to mutter after Tommy West offered him the smoke at midfield after before the sheriffs ran him away before he got one in the face.
Just back to the snowball jerseys. Have we ever touched on how ridiculous these dudes? They have uniforms commemorating a precipitation event, like.
And then the Independence Bowl.
Well, not just that. It wasn't like Independence Bowl exactly.
It's absurd. There's no other word for it. It's absurd.
Gig 'em. By the way, under 6.5 lock for the season win total.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're gonna hit 5, aren't they? Yeah.
They got Southern after this. Will Hall. Look,
Yeah,
Will Hall's guys are still
5
fighting.
and 5.
By the way,
5 and 6.
Frank Gore Jr. is still playing.
Let me tell you
they're still
something.
fighting.
If they lose to Southern,
oh
my God.
Yeah.
Y'all want to know what's wild about Mississippi State? Will Rogers is still their leading passer.
Mother of God.
I'm not lying to you. He's still 1,275
Yeah.
yards. He's still their leading passer. Did he? I mean, when's the last time he played? Did he play against Western Michigan?
Is he gonna play in the Egg? Is that how this
Oh, he
shakes out?
absolutely will.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, they'll probably beat us.
Yeah.
He's gonna be playing in the Egg Bowl with like a stoma because his sternum is busted and he can't breathe.
Oh,
Oh man, they'll, you know,
I love this
we'll
pick.
we'll beat Georgia and ULM
I-
and go to state and lose.
I love this pick because I think A&M could put Anais Smith and the Wildcat and put up numbers.
Dude, he's nasty. He
He's
is
so good.
nasty.
He's so good.
Like he can get 7 yards. So they threw a crossing route. Y'all know the play I'm talking about. It's going left to right.
yeah.
And like we had a guy right next to him
He's
after
just
he
electric.
made the
Yeah.
turn, and then he gets. I know Quinchon does this too, but he gets 7 more yards immediately. It was
Yeah, he's
like,
just not there anymore. He was right there, and now he's not there anymore. Like the
He's
dude
like,
just like
Yes.
teleports.
yeah,
he's like the closest thing I've seen to Tavon Austin back in the day
Yeah.
at West Virginia. Just like
yeah,
electric factory.
yeah.
Ben, I
Man,
wouldn't hesitate.
Tavon Austin.
I wouldn't hesitate putting real money on that game.
It's just
18
a
and half
weird
seems
spot.
like-
That's the only deal. It's like
Isn't it night game too at Kyle Field? That place will be a zoo.
well, they're going to be. It's going to be definitely stressed because of what all's gone down there.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
but you know,
5 and 4.
You know how
I'll
Colts
tell y'all
are.
that they went
still
out and go
show
8 and
up.
4.
The
And
3
8 and
3 o'clock
4.
start, isn't it?
I thought it was a night game.
Oh, it's during our game.
6:30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6:30 p.m. SEC Network, I think. Yeah, they went out. I mean, that would be beating LSU, which wouldn't be overly shocking. They go 8 and 4 and make I don't know, what is that, the Outback Bowl, and Jimbo
Good.
saved.
They go to like what? Music City?
Yeah, Music City, Outback, something like that. They're not gonna fire him over that.
No. I don't think they're firing him. He'd have to like lose out and get embarrassed every week to get fired, in my opinion. 'Cause it's so much money.
I mean, think of it, 8 and 4, and really they got beat by Alabama. They lost a road game at Tennessee at Ole Miss. And what's they have one? Did they have one bad? Oh, the Miami game. That's the bad loss.
Yep. All road losses.
Yeah. And that's really more
Bam
about
at home.
margin of victory in the Miami game. Like it's fine to lose to Miami on the road, but you can't lose like that to Miami on the road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it really set the tone for their season a little bit.
Yeah. All right, who's
All
up?
right, last
Are we
one on
done?
this.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go back to the West Coast here. Give me the San Jose State Spartans against
Oh,
Fresno
boy.
State. I think they're catching one, right?
Yep.
Yep. Give me the one. Fresno State just again another spot play here for me. Fresno State off a huge game against Boise. They probably did not deserve to win that game against Boise, though, Zach.
Got
I
it
think
done.
yeah, they got the dub for you with your lock last week. But like basically a 99-yard kick return was the difference in that game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Boise probably would have won outright. And I think Boise still, I think they missed a field goal to cover even at the end of the game. So Fresno very fortunate to escape. Now they go on the road, and Mikey Keene is banged up too. By the way, for Fresno
Dude, he
State, the
cannot. He
quarterback.
can barely walk.
Yeah, dude, he's in bad shape. It's almost irresponsible for him to be out there at this point because he can't move. I think San Jose State can get the job done at home. They got a pretty decent quarterback. I'm drawing a blank on his name, Cordero, right?
Yeah. He lit up SC last year.
Yeah. I think they'll do just enough to win. I mean, look, we're talking a pick 'em, so give me the home team catching one after Fresno just played, and maybe their biggest game of the season. Flat spot here, banged up quarterback. I like the home team. Give me the Spartans.
And that KefQ Stadium.
Yeah, they just had a renovation, right?
It's an abbreviation, CEFCU Stadium. It's nice.
Mhm.
I watched them when they in the opener against Oregon State. It's a pretty nice little stadium. So, all right, 12 locks there for you. I'm seeing a good week, if I'm being honest. It's gonna be fun in Athens. 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Ole Miss, Georgia. We'll be back next week to get into week 12. as the haters and losers are trying to get us to 500, but we are not doing that. We are staying north of that. So we're going to
We need another good week. It's been a
Yeah, we're
minute.
due.
We
We're
need
due
a-
for one.
we need a strong one to really get that gap widened. But yeah, so we'll be back next week with more picks, more locks, and I don't know how much we can get into Ole Miss ULM, but we're gonna do it. So shout out to Ben, to Nick, to Austin. Nick, safe travels on your way to Athens, and I would say
Yeah,
I'll
you
see you
too.
there, but I probably won't.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. But that's gonna do it for Hit That Line week 11, as Ole Miss will go for win number 9 this weekend in Georgia. So for those guys over there, I'm Zach. Appreciate y'all listening. We out.